everyone. I'm Sudeepthi, working as an associate professor in the Institute of Aeronautical Engineering from the Department of Placement and Training. Today, we have an important topic in the course, English for Career Development, a language course for engineering graduates. So, the topic for today's discussion is the purpose of group discussions and important things to remember. So, what are some purposes, or what is one important purpose that you might have, or what are some important reasons for you to discuss? So, what is that purpose? And if at all you have purpose, what are the reasons? So, these are some important reasons. So, why do you discuss? Why do you go for group discussions? So, why is that you go for all these things? So, is it only to please the audience? No. You need to have some reasons, important reasons and valid reasons in order to appear for this group discussion. So one reason is that making decisions. So you make decisions when you discuss. So it could be like anybody, inviting anyone to the party you have it for, or else, where to see them, where to arrange what to do. So in order to make some crucial decisions, you go for this group discussion. And another reason or another purpose is to give or share your opinions on a given topic. So discussing beliefs or about the effectiveness of, for example, capital punishment. So you give or share your opinions. You give and take opinions. You give and agree your opinion with others. You disagree with them. So in order to share or transmit your opinions, you will go for these group discussions. And then, in order to create something, this is another purpose. You create something. So you plan and make a poster as a medium for feedback. So if you have to create anything very innovative, so you discuss, you plan it, you discuss with your friends. So it could be formal or any informal situation. So in order to create something, you go for group discussion. Also, to solve a problem, any kind of problem that you want to tackle. So you discuss it and then rule out the factors or the causes for that. So you go for group discussions having all these reasons. And then in order to have a good group discussion, or in order to be an effective participant for this group discussion, you need to remember a few things. So what are they? You are doing some analysis. So you analyze and you are persuading your audience when you discuss. That means you are persuading. So also you have to control your emotions. Based on some important emotions, you have to decide, even you are deciding it, you are showing up your emotion. So how do you do it? So how do you control it? Or how do you show up your emotions? So what you're doing is you're analyzing, persuading, you're showing your emotions. And also you should know when to interrupt and when not to interrupt, when it is appropriate to interrupt, when it is inappropriate to interrupt. So you should be mindful of all that. Also, you need to remember that you should make sure you know the language for agreeing and disagreeing. So if you have to disagree, if you have to agree, what is the language you use? What are some expressions you use? So you should be able to know all that. And then you have to be very polite in case you disagree with your partner in group discussions. So you need to be aware of the language you are using it. So you should know it for granted what to use and what not to use. And then you have to ask your partner what he or she thinks. So you have to ask for their opinions. So you need to remember how to ask them. What's the language? What are the language expressions you use? Also, you should remember you have to use every second you are given to do it. So effective management of time is very important. And then you have to finish the discussion by summarizing what you have spoken about. So that summarizing is very important. So how do you summarize? You cannot summarize something by saying just your conclusion. You have to summarize all your ideas, all your points when you do that. So when you finish the argument. Also, you should not interrupt while others are speaking. So you should not cause these interruptions or interruption. You have to be mindful of that. And then you have to listen carefully while others are speaking. So careful listening is very important. That means you have to respond, right? In order to respond to the other person, you should be able to listen carefully. So careful listening is important. And then never point fingers towards the other participant. So pointing of fingers is very awkward. So you have to be very formal in your body language. Also, better not to indicate the participant's name. In case if you're very familiar with the person, you can say dear Raghu or dear Suresh or dear Alexander or dear Matthew. Could be anything. Or if they are unknown to you, you can say, as my dear friend has pointed out, as my dear friend has come up with a phrase. So you can address to them, address these people by referring to them using all these expressions. So you have to be mindful. You have to remember all that. And then you need to be mindful of some basic rules and guidelines when you participate in group discussions. So what are they? You must be loud and be clear in your voice, but should not shout. Some students or some participants out of their emotion, and when they're very outrageously, showing their anger, or when they're irritated and annoyed, they shout when the other person is not listening to them. So you should never do that. You should be very polite and balanced in your tone, and you should communicate and express your thoughts and views very effectively. That's very important. You have to communicate it very clearly. So crystal clear communication is very important. Crystal clear message should be very clear. Message should be precise. That's very important. And then you should not be harsh to the other members. So you should be very good. You shouldn't be rude. You should be very polite. Always be polite in your tone and try to convince members. And what are some do's you have to follow? Think about your opinion before the discussion starts. Do not just abruptly start giving your views. Think before you do. And secondly, say what you really think and about the topic and explain why. Just don't give a statement in your group discussion, but explain the reason. Give a valid reason. Why do you think so? What is the reason? So do that. And then listen to what your partner says and agree and say if you're agreeing or disagreeing. So listen to it and you have to give your response and you have to say whether you agree or not and disagree. Just don't merely listen to the participants, but also agree and disagree. Right? And some don'ts you have to be very mindful of. You have to not only give your opinion, but also you have to respond. Not only that you disagree or agree, you have to respond to your partner with your statement or with your sentence. Also, don't worry if you don't agree with them. It's okay to disagree with them. Sometimes you need to disagree. Give your reasons very clearly. And then don't talk about the things that are not relevant. So avoid irrelevant things. Don't beat around the bush. Be precise. Talk to the point. Come to the point straightforward. So, and also don't let the discussion stop. Keep it going. So with your behavior, please don't do it. So these are some important things you need to be mindful of when you are practicing group discussion or when you're participating in group discussions. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.